Hello, and welcome to Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to do an after-action report of the Battle of Tombstone using Gunfighter's ball. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and use the gunfight at the OK Corral redo as laid out in the actual book, Gunfighter's Ball. We're playing the version number 1, just like old times. This is the version that is intended to be as close as possible to the actual fight in the gunfight. So there are some things worthy of mentioning before we begin. We should probably mention the location of weapons. Wyatt has a fully loaded pistol in his coat pocket. Virgiler has a fully loaded pistol in a waistband. He's carrying a walking stick. I believe that is actually Doc Holliday's walking stick. They changed when Doc took Virgil's shotgun. Morganer has a fully loaded pistol in his holster. Doc Holliday, as I just alluded to, is carrying a double-barreled shotgun hidden under the coat and a fully loaded pistol in a holster. Billy Clanton is carrying 2 fully loaded pistols in holsters and has a fully loaded repeating rifle holstered on his horse. Ike Clanton, history is divided on this subject, so the judge can decide whether Ike is unarmed or whether he has a concealed fully loaded pistol. We'll come back to that in a moment. Frank McLaury has a fully loaded pistol in a holster, fully loaded repeating rifle holstered on a horse, and Tom McLaury has no weapon on his person but has a fully loaded repeating rifle on the horse. Ike will claim to have been unarmed at the event. In fact, historically, he yells that out. He yells that he's unarmed, don't shoot him. Wyatt says something to the effect of get to fighting or leave. And that's what Ike does. Ike runs several blocks down the street. But some sources claim that he was armed. In the famous movie Tombstone, he actually steals a gun from Fly's photography gallery. There's absolutely no reason to believe he was ever in there. Because this is a game, and to make it a little more interesting for his character, I'm going to go ahead and assume that he is carrying a gun. I was thinking about not doing that. You could easily play this with him going for one of the 3 repeaters that are on the horses. The horses are important too, because the claim is always going to be by the Clantons that they were in fact leaving, not that they were going after the Earps. There is a gun law in Tombstone at the time. You're not allowed to be walking around the town armed, but you were allowed to have your weapons with you when you were coming in or when you were leaving. And because of that, where the weapons tended to be left was a delivery stable. And just off camera over in this direction, way on the back of this block of Fremont and 3rd, is the OK Corral. So the horses had been being stored there with their weapons. They have their horses with them, at least 3 of them do. It does look as if they are in fact leaving town like they say, but they're also kind of lingering around. So there's some debate over what their intentions really were and what was really happening there. Behan, the town sheriff, and a man accused of being allied often with the cowboys, had come out, tried to stop the Earps, and said that he had disarmed the cowboys, which clearly was not the case. This gunfight would never have occurred if they had in fact been unarmed. We're going to go ahead and get started here, though. I'm not intending to follow, this is going to be a game, it's going to be a war game. We're going to follow whatever we decide to do during the game. I say we, I'm playing it as a solo. But we're going to do whatever, take whatever options and deal with whatever the particular game gives us, not what the actual fight did. The only thing where I really intend to follow the original plan, to this day nobody knows for sure who started the fight, but the legal side kind of needs to avoid trying to start the fight. If it is clear that they've started the fight, that would have turned... The city was divided already. These two sides, it ends up becoming a partisan conflict between the Republicans and the Democrats. The Cowboys were Democrats, the Earps were Republicans. The city is heavily divided partisan-wise. It has two newspapers that are supporting each of those sides, and that's going to continue even after this fight and when the Vengeance War is going on. So there's a lot of dispute and debate of what's going on anyway, and the Earps are not popular enough at the period that they can just come in here and randomly start shooting. I'm not saying they didn't begin it. We don't know who began it, but they certainly couldn't just obviously begin it. And the game allows for that. It is actually possible, particularly since the Earps have more cards than the Cowboys, it's certainly possible that the Earps could kill all the Cowboys, get the first shots off and kill everybody at the beginning of the game, and still lose because of the victory conditions of this game. So all of that said, let's go ahead and get started. This game is activated by cards. We're going to pull the first card right now. We get a Jack. The Jack is the card Virgil Earp, the man who's technically in charge. Virgil's only action, because things haven't started, but his action is going to be to shout out, "I don't want this." That is historically correct. That's something that actually did happen. Second to activate is also going to be Virgil. I think I will go ahead and take this opportunity to draw. I'm not sure that's the wisest choice. That may be a little too aggressive, but I got two actions in a row and I don't have a whole lot to do with them at this point anyway. All right, that's Wyatt. Wyatt is going to draw, following his brother's lead. Okay, and do I break the rules here? That was a queen. Queen is, I should use the other camera for this. That was a queen. That's going to be Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday is not a cop, but I'm going to go ahead and drop his coat because he has a restriction for firing. If he still has a coat on, it still counts as a draw and with a negative. There's a couple of them have negatives to drawing, which is part of why I'm drawing now too, because their guns aren't like in proper holsters. Now we have a 2. 2 is Frank McClary. Frank is this fellow here. He's standing right across Wyatt Earp. Frank McClary is going to shoot. I'm going to try to take that authority away from him by playing Wyatt's in the hole card, which will turn this into a quick shot or a draw. And Wyatt's going to try to get his shot in before Frank McClary can shoot him. So we have to roll d6s. The black one is going to be for the Cowboy. The white will be for Wyatt. There is a +3 to Wyatt's and a +2 to Frank's. So Frank gets a 4. Oh, no problem. Wyatt gets that first shot off. Wyatt completely outdraws, or well, he had the gun out. It kind of makes sense actually. So what this is going to do now is they only each get a shot. It reduces. Frank could have gotten as many as 3 shots off in an action, and if he's not moving, he could just empty his gun. But on the quick draw rule, you can only get 1 shot off at a time. It's not going to. If he's still standing, it's not going to. It's going to allow him to return fire still, but it gives the first shot to Wyatt. It's a 2-inch range. This is like right in each other's laps. But it's still short range, it's not up close. So it starts as a 60%. Fire modifiers, nobody moved, but so it's going to be halved. So it drops to 30%. Target's wide open. He should add a +1 to his quick draw. He's also got +5 secondary modifier, so he actually has a 35. And deliberate shooter, which is 10. So he should be 45. I'm going to roll again where I can see. I think I flipped that. That is a miss. Wyatt Earp misses Frank McClary. McClary's going to shoot back. McClary's got a couple of other issues. He's firing at close range. That's a 60. Proud is all he's got. He's halved because it's a quick draw, so he goes to 30. So he needs a 30. He doesn't have any of those other modifiers. gets a 99. So they both fire a shot and they both miss. Looks like we only really run the chance of spooking if the horses are hit. Queen is Doc Holliday. Doc is armed with a shotgun, a double-barreled shotgun. Now I think he's going to shoot first, so technically I think he would shoot at the guy that's armed. I don't know. I don't know if he can go shooting at everybody. They haven't all drawn guns. So the shotgun is going to fire the first round. Short range is 6 inches for him. Yeah, we're still at that. So 6 inches is 70%. He did not move. He could aim. That makes it 70. He's going to lift that gun up. He's going to aim. He's going to fire one round at Frank McClary. He rolls a 9. That is going to be a hit. So he hits Frank McClary, and we get left thumb shot off. Drop whatever you've got in your left hand. You're no longer able to hold objects with it, and takes 1d3 hits. And we roll 1, so that's only 1. That's not that big a deal. And then we get Wyatt Earp again. Wyatt had used his hole in the wall card, so that just comes back as his only action. That's basically what the hole in the wall does, is it allows you to borrow from a future action to fire out of sequence. It's kind of the reverse of Overwatch rule in most games. Ace, that is Tom McClary. Tom is over here. He is opposite Doc Holliday. So on McClary's turn, he pulls a rifle off of the horse behind him. Doc Holliday then would fire a second shot. I think he would fire it. I think he can fire now at Tom McClary for going after that gun, and that's who's closest to him anyway. But now he's at a 70 instead of that would be a hit. The card is a groin injury. Groin injury, now you know why God gave you 2. Fall prone, reduced to crawling for the remainder of the game, and it does 1d3 because of the shotgun plus 1. 4 points. So McClary is prone and takes 4 points. That's a substantial hit and an issue for McClary. And then we get 3. 3 is Billy Clanton. Billy, he's also a horseman. His horse doesn't panic around gunfire. Billy Clanton's going to go ahead and shoot at Morgan. Morgan's going to go ahead and play his whole card. Morgan is wounded. He starts with 4 whites and 3 reds because he's already wounded. In a similar fashion, Doc Holliday is down 1 already too because he's a lunger. So he doesn't have any pluses to his shooting. So again, we're going to roll off. He's got a +1. Billy Clanton has a +2. 5 to 5. It is a tie. What happens on a tie? Both characters shoot same time. In all cases, the base chance to hit is cut in half due to hasty fire. So they both are going to get to shoot regardless of what happens. We'll roll them separately though. So Clanton's going to fire first. He's within 9 at 60 inches. It drops to 30 because of the situation. Quick draw. He misses. And Morgan is also going to be 30. He also misses. A lot of shots being fired, not a lot of hits being hit. It's Billy Clanton again. He's going to fire again at Morgan, who cannot. He's got the hole in the wall. He can't shoot back, so that's going to really change things. I'm going to go ahead and shoot 3 rounds because we're now going to be at bonuses. Short range is 60. No modifiers to this. Well, we could aim. That'll make it 70. So he's going to aim and then he's going to fire 3 rounds. So the first one is going to be at 70. That's a hit. The second one's 50 or 60. That's a miss. And the third one, okay, 2 of them hit. So that's 2 hits on Morgan. The first hit, right wrist maimed. Drop object in the right hand, can no longer hold anything with it. So Morgan has been wounded again. He takes D3 hits from that first round. That's 3 hits. And then he takes his second round. Toe on the left foot, shot off, boot filling with blood, reduced to half movement for the remainder of the game. So he's down on his movement, and he takes another D3. That's only one that time. He can't afford this kind of shooting. That's a little bit more successful. Morgan's been badly injured. And then we roll for Morgan. So Morgan now gets to bring his card that was in the hole back up. Yeah, Morgan's going to fall back too. We roll a d3, but he's half movement, so he's only going to move. He rolled a 5, he can move. Let's round it up. We'll move to 3. So he's going to fall back to here. Get some cover. He can't shoot. He just dropped his weapon. Yeah, Morgan's unarmed because his gun is sitting in the road. I have gun markers. I didn't bring them with me, but there should be a pistol right here. So 2 people wounded, 1 man disarmed. Pull another card, and this is going to be Wyatt again. Wyatt's going to go ahead and shoot at Frank McClowry again. Frank's going to try to quick draw that back, because why not? So again, we're going to roll. Wyatt's getting a +4. Frank gets a +2. So it's 7 to. So there's no question there. Wyatt gets the first shot off, but now it's only going to be 1 round. It would have been. He gets a bunch of modifiers. It's 60. It drops to 30. Pistolier though brings it. A deliberate shooter brings it to 45. So he has a 45 to shoot McClary. He hits just barely. Shot passes through the fleshy part of the right side, painful and bloody, but not incapacitating. So he wounds Frank for 1. Frank shoots back at 35. Oh, misses by 1. Can't afford that kind of missing. And then we get Tom McClary. Tom is on the ground. He's on the ground for the rest of the game. Does he stop fighting or does he go ahead and shoot? Tom is going to go ahead and try to shoot Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday is going to go ahead and use his hole. Oh wait, he's unloaded. Well, he can pull a pistol. He gets a +1 to his quick draw. He drops the shotgun, pulls a pistol. We roll off. There's a +4 to the white die, +2 to the black. So it's, oh man, 5 to 10. Should not have done this. 60 normally drops to 30, the +5, so that makes it 40. 40 to hit. Doc Holliday with his pistol, that's a miss. Oh, it's worse than that, because he's target's on the ground. It's a 35 return shot by Frank. That is a hit. Doc Holliday gets shot. That actually should have been a rifle too, not a... So it might have been better. Oh my god, fatal head wound. Characters nearby turn away in horror and are scared for life by what they've all seen. All of his points. Tom McClary just changed history and killed Doc Holliday. And did so on a return quick draw shot. Then we have a 4. This is Ike Clanton. Ike is going to go ahead and pull on Virgil. Virgil is going to try to do, he's going to do his quick draw. So now they have to roll off. Virgil is a +2, Ike is a +1. So we have 5 to 4. Virgil just barely gets this shot off. He's going to be at a 70 normally. It's going to drop to 35. He doesn't have any modifiers to that. That's a miss. And then Ike shoots back, same thing. Those are both misses. So they both fire their first shots to little to no effect. And the last card of the game is going to be Frank McClary. He has a hole, so his comes back. And then we reshuffle the deck. Oh, we also have to shuffle. We had an instant death card, so we have to reshuffle that deck too. Every time the death card comes up, you have to reshuffle the black deck. And that's a way of not removing the danger of the big death card from the deck. First card, turn 2, is a 10. That's going to be Morgan Earp. Morgan is unarmed. I don't know what Morgan's going to do here. I don't think Morgan can do much of anything. He could run and try to get his pistol. No, but he's wounded. I don't think he's going to do that. I think Morgan is going to just pretty much be out of this game. He's going to stand where he's at and leave this to his brothers. And speaking of his brothers, it's Wyatt Earp. Wyatt, he's going to fire at Frank McClary. Frank is going to go again and do a quick draw. So Wyatt Earp has a +4 And Frank has a +3. So it's 6 to 7. Frank actually gets the first shot off. This is going to be at 70. It's going to drop because of the quick draw to 35. No modifiers. And that's a 2. That's a hit. Wyatt Earp gets hit. And Wyatt, oh my god, fatal head wound. Beat the drum slowly, play the fife lowly. All of his hit points. Wyatt Earp has just been killed. This is not going historically the same at all. And the Earps are doing poorly. We have to reshuffle the black deck. That's a 2. That's going to be, Frank is going to undo his hole in the wall card. Man, Virgil's pretty much alone. Ike is going to go on a 4. Ike is getting a little brave. Ike is standing right opposite Virgil. Virgil has his hole in the wall card played, so he cannot quick shot. This is going to be rough. Ike's going to try to fire 3 rounds into Virgil Earp. He's going to aim, so it's going to make it an 80. So it's going to be 80, 70, and 60. This is not good. First is a hit. Second is a hit. All 3 are going to be hits. First one. Shot in the right knee, blinding pain drops you to the ground as a stone. Fall prone, reduced to crawling for the remainder of the game. 1d3 plus 3. So he's dropped to the ground, he receives 1d3 plus 3. That's 5. The second shot. Bullet smashes to watch in your right vest pocket and knocks the wind out of you, spending 1 action figuring out if you're hurt. So Virgil's going to lose a turn, but he doesn't take any more damage. And then the last one, fatal head wound, beat the drum slowly, all. This game is over. Wow. All of the Earp faction were killed except for Morgan, who was wounded again and disarmed, and probably at this point would leave. So that brings an end to this fight in an entirely different from history fashion. So there you have a Gunfighter's Ball version of the shootout at the OK Corral. Altered history pretty significantly, with almost all of the Earp faction actually being outright killed. Only Morgan survived, and he was close to being fatally wounded. It's part of why when he ran, he didn't come back in. There were some injuries on the cowboy side, but I don't recall there was even any deaths, and most of them were fine at the end of the game. So big difference between the two sides in that. I am thinking about doing, I think I mentioned that a while back, I'm considering doing a campaign of the whole war between the cowboys and the tombstones, or the Earps. And if anything causes me to hesitate, it's because Gunfighter's Ball is a dangerous game. It can be very fatal. Some of the wounds do hardly anything. You saw one of these wounds hit a watch, did nothing at all. I have no problem with some of the other injuries being temporary, the wounds to the arms and legs, but when it says you're shot in the head and you're dead, that's kind of hard to just ignore between games. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I always enjoy Gunfighter's Ball. I think it's a very excellent game. It's good for a really quick game. It's great for conventions, which is what it was designed for. It's a simple, elegant rule system. It is kind of fatal, but it's an enjoyable game. It's really not designed to play as many people per side as, well, I was playing both sides on top of it. It's really better if you're not playing more than 3 figures, and I don't mean 3 on a side. I mean, you can play more by having more players. This game would have been better with at least 4 players, 2 on each side, each playing 2 of the figures. That's really more where the game works at its best. But I hope you did enjoy the video. It's been a while since I've done a Gunfighter's Ball video. I thought it was about time to do another one. If you have enjoyed it, I hope that you'll go ahead and hit like. If you have any questions or have comments you'd like to make about Gunfighter's Ball or anything else, I suppose, or even further content you'd like to see us produce here on Cry Havoc Wargaming, we look for that in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed it, I hope you'll hit like, and if you'd like to continue to receive notifications for videos like this one that may help you better determine how to spend your money or time in your tabletop wargaming hobby, then I hope you will hit subscribe and ring our notification bell. Till next time, cheers.